Powered by Riverside FM.
UP Nation, Skull Nation, Purple Gang, here's what I want you to do today. Put your GM hats on. Put your GM hats on. Everybody's been talking about the battle for the number 2 quarterback spot, the wide receiving spot, who's going to make what, people are going to be out, Jordan Addison. Listen, where the war and the battle is at the linebacker spot. Have you taken the time to look at the Minnesota Vikings linebacker depth chart? Man, whoever doesn't make this team, I mean, if I'm the NFL right now, I'm looking at the Minnesota Vikings linebackers depth chart, and anybody that comes out of, number one, Brian Flores' system and that plays linebacker on this team in training camp, man, I am looking for that dude, because somebody is going to get cut and not make this team that's pretty dang on good. Like, I think the locks, when you look at, let's take a look at the inside linebacker spot, the locks. Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr. are locked in at starters. Now, I've always been the one to say, when I look at Ivan Pace Jr., I don't know if he is a long-term inside linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. He's got the green dot. I saw during the preseason, I don't know if this is a permanent thing, but he had the green dot during preseason. Maybe that's only because Blake Cashman is not going to get that run during the preseason, but Ivan Pace Jr. a couple years ago had the green dot. And for those of you that don't know what the green dot is, he's basically the captain on the field that gets everybody lined up, relays the calls from Brian Flores to the rest of the team. When Blake Cashman came in from the Texans, he took over that role from Ivan Pace Jr., and he had the green dot. But for the preseason, Ivan Pace Jr. had the green dot. But those two are going to be locks. And again, we could talk about Ivan Pace Jr. years from now, whether or not he's going to be the inside linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. I think he's not that great in coverage, and I think overall he is a little bit too small, but the dude has the heart of a lion, and he balls out every time he goes out there. So Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr. Then we got the outside linebackers in Jonathan Grenard, outside linebackers, edge rushers, whatever you want to call them. Jonathan Grenard, Van Ginkel. And so now you got to throw my guy Dallas Turner in there because, hey, B-Flow's talked about we're going to play these guys on the field all at the same time. So whether Dallas Turner lines up at D-tack or whether Dallas Turner lines up at the edge and they just start rotating guys in terms of having a three-headed monster. Anyway, those three are going to be on the field at the same time. Now here's where the issue comes. You've got Brian Asamoah. He's athletic. He's got coverage skills. You could actually rotate him in the nickel. But he's been on this team for a while, man, and he just hasn't ascended to where the Minnesota Vikings need for him to be. You kind of get what I'm saying, UP Nation, Skull Nation, Purple Gang? If I'm wrong, put it in the comments, man. He just has not panned out. The guy that's putting a lot of pressure on a lot of people and who I think is going to have a role on this team is my guy, Eric Wilson. Veteran, insurance policy, special team staple, guy that has been with the organization before and looking pretty good at training camp. I mean, listen to all these names, man. It's deep. If I am the Minnesota Vikings GM, that's where the deep discussions at the end of the day is going to have to be had, man. It's just going to be tough. I think Eric Wilson is going to be on this squad. I think he's valuable. He is that veteran insurance policy for the Minnesota Vikings. Gabriel Murphy, we all saw what he did in the first preseason game. He balled out. And we also know the talent of Gabriel Murphy. He is an explosive edge rusher. Just here's what I want you to do. Watch him on 3rd and longs. If he's not getting to the quarterback, he's damn well getting close. So Gabriel Murphy is that dude. Like, I think he has a spot on this team. So we've already talked about Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr., Jonathan Grenard, Dallas Turner, Van Ginkel. I mean, Eric Wilson. Okay. Gabriel Murphy is someone that I think is going to be heard from. Now, we got to talk about the youngins. Kobe King. I have been on my soapbox about Kobe King. He is from linebacker U in Penn State. I just haven't liked what I've seen so far, especially that first preseason game. Man, in space, that dude looked like he dipped his feet in a bunch of cement and tried to run around that field. It stood out to me that he was a little bit slow. And his critique coming out of college is that he was not the best coverage guy. So you can put him in the same category as like an Ivan Pace Jr. in terms of coverage. And I think in B-Flow's defense, man, you've got to have guys that can do both. You got to have guys that can step up in those gaps, stop to run, be versatile enough to rush, and be able to drop back in coverage. Like, you can't have that hole from the linebacker spot. Now, I'm not saying Kobe King is not going to make the team, but small sample size from what I saw, and I was high on him. I'm telling you, I was one of the guys that was high on him. In that first preseason game, and what I have seen overall from Kobe King, he just looks slow. I don't know if he's battling something, but next time you have an opportunity to get your eyes on Kobe King, not saying that he can't tackle because the guy can thump. Once he gets his arms around you, you're going down, but he's got to get his arms around you. Like, I'm telling you right now, the dude just seems a little bit slow to me. Bo Richter. Here's another one, man. Versatile, can play the linebacker spot. I honestly think he could go in and look. He's got that versatility where you can just move him around. Edge depth, right? Preseason flashes could push him into that final 53. Another guy that is going to be heard from in that linebacker room. I'm just telling you, UP Nation. List all the linebackers, and you become the GM. Put it in the comments. Who do you keep? Obviously, we know who our main guys are, but who do you keep? Who do you cut? Who do you put on the practice squad? Now, keep in mind, you start putting guys on the practice squad, other organizations can come in and snap them up, so you got to be careful with that. There is a balance that I think Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is going to have to go through in terms of draft picks invested, money invested. How do we balance that thing out? Sometimes it's not as clear cut in terms of, hey, this guy just isn't good enough. It's about the investment and the dollars that you're putting in to these players. You get a perfect example. You get rid of a guy like Brian Asamoah. That's another draft pick. If he doesn't make the 53, that's another draft pick on Kwesi's resume that didn't pan out. So a lot of those things, when you go into the boardroom and you guys start discussing it as an organization, these are the type of things that come up in professional organizations. It is valid. And this is why I'm putting the challenge out to UP Nation, Skull Nation, and the Purple Gang to put your GM hat on, because what moves would you make? Then you got Tyler Batty, undrafted free agent. Like, this is a guy that has the ability to make plays. He's had a pretty decent training camp, gotten to a little bit of a scrum with J.J. McCarthy. That's probably the highlight of his camp. But the dude's been balling out. He's got that potential. I think a lot of the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff really likes him. Chaz Chamberlain, another guy that they've invested into that's really, really strong against the run. UP Nation. Like, I don't think they're going to get rid of him too fast. Maybe a practice squad candidate. Man, I'm just looking at these names. Austin Keys. I'm just looking at the names that the Minnesota Vikings are going to have to sift through at the linebacker spot. Everybody has been talking about the secondary and the QB2 battle, and all of those things are valid. But I think the linebacker spot is where the war is going to happen. That is going to be a level of decision-making that I don't envy the Minnesota Vikings and who they keep, because I just got a feeling that there's somebody within that group of linebackers that's not going to make the 53, that's not going to be on the practice squad, and somebody out there that's looking for a pretty good linebacker with potential, and it's probably going to be a young guy, is going to be able to snap up a really good linebacker. Let me ask you this, UP Nation, Purple Gang, Skull Nation. There's been a lot of smoke when it comes to, and where there's smoke, there's fire, about Adam Thielen possibly coming back to the Minnesota Vikings. And we can do a whole video on this topic, UP Nation. We can do a whole video on this topic. What's your thoughts on bringing Adam Thielen back? I have always been on the side of the fence that why revisit that? I've always thought that the Minnesota Vikings and their fans have a hard time turning the page. But I'm looking at the Minnesota Vikings situation, especially with Rondale Moore going out. Man, that really sucked, because I think that KOC really wanted to use Rondale Moore. And I just feel really, really bad for the young man, because he just can't catch a break. He just can't catch a break. And now he's going to have this narrative about just being damaged goods because he's always getting hurt. And I actually thought that he was going to have a really big role with the Minnesota Vikings this year. I thought they were going to put him in the slot. I thought he was going to be the gadget guy, and him getting hurt is just unfortunate. But you have Justin Jefferson, who I think is going to be okay game one. I think they're going about it the right way in terms of trying to rest him, trying to help that hamstring. I just don't like that it's a hamstring. Like, even if he comes back 100% healthy for the first game, man, those hamstrings, they rear their ugly head at any point in time during the season. So you're going to have some insurance policy for that. Jordan Addison will be that insurance policy. Man, Jordan Addison is box office. That dude is becoming a beast. Every time he steps on the field, he is absolutely 1,000% production. But we got to get him on the field after this 3-game suspension. I mean, the double-headed monster between Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, man, the best tandem in the league. I don't want to hear anything about anybody else. You might say that I'm biased, but man, look at the production of those two. So my thoughts about Adam Thielen is he an upgrade from Jalen Nailor? Now, hear me out when I talk about this. Obviously, Adam Thielen has had a way better career than Jalen Nailor. Adam Thielen has been the man here for the Minnesota Vikings. I thought he made a mistake chasing the money to go to Carolina. And I'm sure if you were to ask him, he doesn't regret the money, but I think he regrets the move. He is always here working out with Justin Jefferson during the offseason. And I don't look at him physically as being an upgrade from Nailor. I think Nailor's faster. I think he's a better athlete. But I think overall, Adam Thielen is a better wide receiver, more reliable wide receiver. There's always been that knock on Nailor that he can't stay healthy. For the most part, Adam Thielen is pretty much always healthy. Again, reliable, has great hands, great in the red zone, great for the community up here in Minnesota and in Minneapolis. So I think about, I wasn't on board with bringing him back, but now with the injury to Rondale Moore, depending on how the Minnesota Vikings could get him, I'm on board with the Minnesota Vikings have to stop giving up assets, man. They just got to stop doing it. Under the Kwesi Adofo-Mensah regime, man, they're handing out draft picks like they're Skittles. You've got to be able to keep some of these draft picks. And so if the Carolina Panthers decide to keep Adam Thielen and not make him a salary cap casualty, I wouldn't do it. I don't know if I would trade for him unless there is a deal. If it's a late 7th rounder or a 6th round pick, I'll do that, because the Minnesota Vikings are going to be good. And so that pick is going to be a late pick in those 2 rounds, 6th or 7th round. So I would entertain that. I don't think it's going to be anything different, but I will stand by my statement. The Minnesota Vikings have to start keeping some of these picks. But if you bring in a guy like Adam Thielen and he can understand his role, because part of him leaving was that he wanted a bigger role plus the bag, right? So I think now, coming into this situation, he would know Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. I mean, there's no dialogue there. And Jordan Addison is on the come up. You've got that third spot, and if you could get that with Adam Thielen, pair him with a TJ Hawkinson, knowing the scheme of KOC and what he likes to do with the running game, with the newly revamped offensive line, I think that solidifies that slot spot, makes our offense better than it was a day ago if we brought him in today. I just think it's a win-win, and I think it makes the Minnesota Vikings better. And I've been one of the guys that said, man, why do you want to bring Adam Thielen back? I don't say, but, as attrition starts to set in the wide receiving room, as I sit back and reflect on it, it's not a bad idea, UP Nation, in bringing Adam Thielen back. I wouldn't hate it. I just wouldn't give up a lot for him. If he gets cut, I think it's a no-brainer bringing him in if he's a salary cap casualty for the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, I just wanted to challenge you guys to put your GM hats on today. Do you bring back Adam Thielen? Who are you keeping? Who are you cutting in the linebacker room? Man, this stuff is not easy. This is why these guys get paid the big bucks. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. This is why these guys get paid the big bucks, man. In the meantime, hit that like and subscribe button, man. Help me continue to stay in the algorithm so I can keep pumping out this content that I love pumping out to UP Nation, Skull Nation, and the Purple Gang. Looking forward to the joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday. Me and myself and Patrick Buchanan are going to be out there. So if you guys are out there for the joint practices, you guys will see myself and Patrick Buchanan walking around. Feel free to say what's up. Again, hit that like and subscribe button, man. This has been Unconventional Playbook, and we will make sure to see ya when we see ya. Skol!